Hello Internet, and welcome to a map announcement video. Not a Metroidvania map announcement video, however, because I don't just do Metroidvania maps. 95% of my maps are very much Metroidvania maps, but the other 5% are not. We had Master Key, we had Vaporum Lockdown, which is a dungeon crawler blobber game. Master Key obviously is a Zelda-like. It's not the only genre that I do, the Metroidvania. And this in front of you is the very first survival horror game that I have ever mapped. And it's a weird one. It's a weird one because Tormented Souls, a game that I've literally just finished playing and put up my full playthrough, 10 hours or so of it on the channel in one big video. It wasn't my favourite game ever. It's got some significant issues, and some of those issues are the fact that the latter half of the game doesn't have a map. If you take a look at the map on screen now, you can see that we've got the second floor of the hospital/mansion. We've got the first floor of the hospital/mansion, and we've got the basement of the hospital/mansion. And you might look at that and think, well, that's what we get in game, isn't it? And yeah, that's about half. It's about half of the game world and the game map. The rest of it, we've had to put together just based on gut feeling, and in my particular case, I used two sources for this. First of all, there's a chap over on Steam called Fitrox, who puts together a guide with maps for the sewer, mausoleum, and the bunker, which was absolutely essential in terms of me figuring out the locations. I've still redone them all from scratch and fixed some of the issues and changed how they look and so on and so forth, but it was their work that made this possible, or at least made it possible in a decent time frame. So kudos to them for their work on that. The maps are still there in their Steam guide. The mausoleum map isn't right, unfortunately. The section here actually is flipped over on their version of the map for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. And there are other maps and other areas that I've added to this that A, aren't on his map, and B, also aren't on the in-game map. So this is a much more robust and complete version of the game. Let's take a look at the map, shall we? Let's zoom in at 50% just so you can see what is going on. When I first started playing this, I had assumed that the game was doing the Resident Evil thing, where green rooms were cleared and red rooms still had things to find in them. That's not the case. I don't know exactly how they have decided what room is a red room and what room is a green room, but it doesn't actually mean anything as far as I can tell. So whilst the original mansion/hospital locations have got the multiple colours, obviously because I didn't know what the criteria was, I couldn't make any decisions whatsoever about the bunker, the mausoleum and the sewer. I've seen a couple of people say, the green rooms are corridors and the red rooms are rooms, which is an interesting way of looking at it, because the main hall is a room, surely, not a corridor. So I'm not entirely sure. So I just didn't do anything with it. I could have put the mausoleum corridor and the stairs corridor in green, but because I didn't know the criteria, I decided, you know what, it's not worth trying to figure that out, so I didn't bother. But yeah, everything in the game is noted on here. So green doors are doors that are just open. We've got any lore items, files, clipboards, reports, etc, etc. They've all got this little book icon. Interactables have got the little kind of pressy finger icon. Doors that require you to come from one particular way to unlock them, they've got their icon on as well. Map icons, morphine, shotgun shells, the cassette tape, recorder magnetic tape, things that you use for your ink ribbons, basically. They're on here as well. Save points are on here. Certain locks have got specific open functions, so they're on here. The combination lock, the electronic locks, and so on and so forth. Any boxes with nails that you can pick up. Anything that's got one of these big red X's on is blocked and you can't get through. It's pretty straightforward, actually. There are certain areas in the game where you can go into the past. I have pulled those out and done separate maps with the separate blockers, the separate items, and so on and so forth. So those are all nice and clear as to the difference between them. And you'll notice, even just moving things over with speed like this. Oh, we've got puzzle solutions on as well for some of the more tricksy puzzles. You'll notice there's quite a lot of text. I've put quite a lot of text on this one explaining how to get through certain chunks of the game. I personally thought that might be quite helpful for people. So that kind of stuff is all on here. But otherwise, yeah, it's a pretty straightforward map. It's taken me probably 25-ish hours to put together, just under that. The game itself, as I said, it's a survival horror game. So if you know where to go and what to do, i.e. you don't need this because you've got everything memorized, you can complete it in under 3 hours. In fact, there's an achievement for doing so. But otherwise, if you'd much prefer wanting to know where things are, and maybe you just want something to help you plan a route, this might help, frankly. So it's available in the usual places. There's a super duper high quality version that I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with yet. This particular version is still pretty large, but as far as I can tell, it's got everything on that you might want. There are a few inconsistencies in the game with the naming conventions for things like lore items. So, in some places it's referred to as Anna's diary, and in some places it's referred to as a young child's diary. I don't quite understand that. In the mausoleum, there's Bertrand's diary, but his name is also Bertram. There's some inconsistencies in terms of, I'm assuming, localization. And that goes for names of the actual rooms on the map as well. I've looked at a couple of walkthroughs since, and they've got different names for some of the areas to what I've got in my game. So I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, if you find this useful, let me know. Toss me a few quid if you appreciate the work that I do. Tormented Souls 2 is coming out in October, so a month and a bit away at the time of recording this. It's the 1st of September 2025 as I record this. I have also mapped the demo for Tormented Souls 2 just to see what it was like. In fact, I did that before I did this, just to see whether it was fun, essentially, whether it was something that I'd be interested in doing, and it was an interesting map to play around with. I may map the full game. The full game, I'm assuming, is probably going to be bigger than this, as sequels are wont to do. It certainly looks like it's got higher production values. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know. Tormented Souls, have you played it? Did you play it back in 2021? I think it was, when it came out. And is this useful? Because whilst I love mapping metroidvanias, I'm not averse to mapping other stuff as well. Yeah, let me know down below. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.